Okay. So finally, the thing is, I checked the last video. We have to start from responsibility of supervisors.
Okay.
Yeah. So standard 4C, responsibilities of supervisors. See, members and candidates must take reasonable efforts to ensure that anyone subject to their complies with applicable laws, rules, regulations, and the code of standards. Okay. See, like if you're working in a company, there will be some manager, some executive at a very higher level who would be supervising you, correct? So if they are supervising you, they should follow or they should comply with all the laws, rules, regulations, and the code and standards as well. Okay. Abhijit, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So members must make reasonable efforts to prevent employees from violating laws, rules, regulations, or code and standards, as well as make reasonable efforts to detect violations. That means if you are a member and you're working in a company, so you should make all those efforts to prevent. See, so responsibilities of supervisors. Actually, like I just misquoted this. See, if you are a member of CFA Institute and if you are working in a company and if you are a financial manager and you will be having a team under you and you will be supervising the team, correct? So, like that team would be subject to your supervision. Okay. So, in that case, you should follow all the rules, regulations, and the code and the standards. So, members make reasonable efforts to prevent employees. That means the employees who are working under you, or if you are carefully, if you're in an organization, you should make sure that no one violates the laws, rules, regulations, or code and standards, as well as you should make reasonable efforts to detect violations. Now, an adequate compliance system must meet industry requirements and the requirements of the code and standards. That means there should be a compliance system which should always follow the standards which are to be followed in the industry, all the regulatory requirements, that is compliances, simply saying compliances. So members with supervisory responsibility. So if you are a member and you are also into supervisory responsibilities, definitely an obligation to bring an adequate compliance system to the attention of firm's management and recommend corrective action wherever required. A member or candidate faced with no compliance procedures, that means you don't have any such authority, you are not supervising, or with procedures he believes are inadequate, must decline supervisory responsibility in writing under adequate procedures are adopted by the firm. That means if you are someone who is working in a company and you see that there is no compliance procedure, or you believe that there is inadequate, uh, that means you believe that the procedures are inadequate. Okay, so you should immediately decline the supervisory responsibility. That means, see, if there are a lot of violations happening under you, so you will be blamed. So you should never do the supervisory responsibility in that case where the compliances are not intact. Now, if there is a violation, promptly and conduct a thorough investigation while increasing supervision or placing limitations. Recommendations for members. A member recommend that his employer adopt a code of ethics. Members should encourage employer to provide their codes of ethics to clients. Fine. So they should always see that, or they should recommend, if the case, adopt code of ethics, and the members encourage their of ethics to clients. That means clients should very well be the mechanism. Okay. So once the compliance program is, the supervisor should distribute it to the proper personnel, update it as. So if you want to make some changes to compliances based upon the amendment which happens in, continually educate staff regarding procedures, issue reminders as necessary, require professional events or review impatience to monitor compliance and identify violations. Recommendations for the firms is employers should not commingle compliance procedures with code of ethics. Okay, that means suppose if there's a company, they should not commingle, not club the compliance procedures what they have with the firm's code of ethics. This can dilute the goal of reinforcing one's ethical obligations. They should keep code of ethics separate from the compliance procedures, correct? Hello?
Yes, sir. Please continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you understand with this, Abhijit?
So you see, there must be some segregation of duties. I mean, hello, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So in a situation where there is no set processes or some sort of framework, one should decline the supervisory role. That is one thing.
No,
that
that's okay, Abhijit. Can you explain this line to me, please?
Which line could you please point again, because the screen is breaking?
Yeah. Employers should not commingle compliance procedures with firm's code of ethics.
Employers should not commingle
compliance procedures with firm's code of ethics.
Okay. Only now I'm able to see the screen. Okay, fine.
See, if it's a very bad network, Abhijit, it's better we take tomorrow. I stay in the office. See, what is happening is now I'm seeing 5 stars, 4 stars here in my Wi-Fi. Again, it's fluctuating. See, again, it has gone to 0. I don't know what's the problem today. So we are having a bad time. So you are suffering because of this. So I'm not feeling good about that. I can continue 1 hour, but if you're not getting, then it's a problem, no?
Yes, see, this is
no worries. Let's continue.
Hello.
Yeah, this is purely this. Yeah. So hello. Yeah, I'm continuing, Abhijit. I'm explaining this.
Okay, please.
Hello. Yeah. See, employers should not commingle. That means they should not club the compliance procedures. Compliance is all about set of rules, regulations, what company should follow with firm's code of ethics. That means they want the ethics to be separated from the compliance procedures. Compliance is it's like compliances are at its place and code of ethics is at its place. Code of ethics is very important that everyone should follow. Okay. But they don't want this to be a part of the compliance procedures. Okay. That's what. So this can dilute the goal of reinforcing one's obligations. Okay. Because see, this can dilute in the sense can make things weaker. The goal, if they have goal of reinforcing one's ethical obligations, see, they may follow compliance or not. That's a secondary matter. Many of them, they don't follow. But code of ethics are very strict, have to be followed, should be followed. So that's the reason why they keep this separate. Now, while investigating a possible breach of compliance procedures, it is appropriate to limit the suspected employees' activities. If they are doing that, adequate compliance procedures should be clearly written, be easy to understand. Designate a compliance officer who is nothing but a company secretary in a company, usually with authority clearly defined, have a system of checks and balances, outline scope of procedures, scope in the sense what can be the procedures and to what extent it can go, what can be its range, outline what conduct is permitted, contain procedures for reporting violations and sanctions. That also should be there. If not for if you are violating the compliance procedures, then what kind of we would sanction. Okay, we would put sanction on you and structure incentives so unethical behavior is not rewarded. Okay, Abhijit, did you follow? Shall I move forward?
Yes, sir. Please do.
Now, guidance for standard 5. So standard 5 investment analysis recommendations. Standard 5 is diligence and reasonable basis. See, diligence is hard work. Reasonable basis is nothing but fair and just. So members and candidates must exercise diligence. They should be very much hardworking. They should be independent. No one should pressurize them in any ways. they should be very thorough in analyzing investments, making investment recommendations, and taking investment actions. That is what we expect from a member. Okay, being from such a reputed like institution, having a reasonable and adequate basis supported by, see, if I tell you you buy this stock, if I tell you buy Adani stock, it's going well. So like blindly, if you buy and if Adani stock falls, then what? Definitely, I should not recommend such things to you, but I copy the recommendation and tell you, like many of the reports are saying that you should buy Adani stock. In 2022 December, Adani stock was what? They had a debt to equity ratio of 20:1. Now, what do you think? What do you think it is ideal? When we studied, it is 2:1 should be the ideal ratio, correct?
Okay.
By any means, this. If I have this investigation, if I tell you don't buy Adani stocks because the debt to equity ratio is 20:1, then you may believe and I may show you those proofs, correct? Isn't it so? Then the firmness, like you will be like firmly believing me because I have a very thorough research and investigation of that particular stock. Okay. So whenever I give any suggestion, I should give it on reasonable and adequate basis because I should have a thorough research and investigation of that particular suggestion what I'm making for any investment analysis and recommendation of action. The application of this standard depends on the investment philosophy adhered to members and candidates, roles in the investment decision-making process, and the resources and support provided by the employers. These factors dictate the degree of diligence, thoroughness of research. See, they are already working in a very good environment, and the investment philosophy itself says that anyone who is giving a suggestion or recommendation should thoroughly do the research and give it. Okay, and that is what it is expected. Okay. So these important factors always dictate the degree of diligence, the hard work, the thoroughness of research, and the proper level of investigation required. So the level of research needed to satisfy the requirement for due diligence will differ depending on the product or service offered. Of course, some products they require very deeper research, and some products like those are doing very well since 20 or 30 years, like Tata. If I speak about Tata Steel or some kind of products which are not that volatile, which are always in strong demand, which is always like if we speak about like which is always doing well since many years. So what kind of company you will take that into? Can I say that is Tata Steel?
Yes.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is doing well since many years, correct?
So I'm able to follow you.
Yeah.
But your
voice I'm not able to hear properly.
No. I think it's the other way around. I'm not able to hear your voice properly. Let me put it that way.
So there's a very poor connection, Abhijit, here. Poor connection.
You see, I'll just call you over phone. I'll just call you over phone.